There are moments that change everything. A single word, a single gesture, a single mistake. This is the story of a champion who made that mistake and paid a price no one could have predicted. His name was Marcus Chen, 23 years old, undefeated martial arts champion, 3 consecutive world titles, a face on every magazine cover, a name everyone knew. But what nobody knew was that his greatest battle wasn't in the ring. It happened on a cold November evening, in an alley behind a luxury hotel, where the lights didn't quite reach, where people like Marcus never went. He was there because he'd taken a shortcut after a celebration dinner, too much champagne, too much praise, too much of everything. And that's when he saw him, an old man, sitting against the wall, dressed in rags, a torn blanket, a wooden bowl with a few coins. Marcus almost walked past, almost. But something made him stop. Maybe it was the alcohol. Maybe it was the arrogance. Maybe it was something darker. He looked down at the beggar and laughed. "Look at you, pathetic." The old man didn't move, didn't look up, just sat there, silent. Marcus felt something strange, irritation. This man should fear him, should acknowledge him, should react. He kicked the bowl, coins scattered across the wet pavement, ringing, rolling, disappearing into shadows. "You know who I am? I'm Marcus Chen, 3-time world champion. I could buy this entire alley, and everyone in it." Still nothing, just silence. Marcus stepped closer, his fists clenched, his heart racing with something that wasn't quite anger, something colder. "Look at me when I'm talking to you." And then, for the first time, the old man raised his head, his eyes. There was something wrong with his eyes. They weren't the eyes of a beggar. They weren't the eyes of someone broken by life. They weren't even the eyes of someone afraid. They were the eyes of someone who had seen things, done things, survived things that would destroy most men. And in that moment, Marcus realized he had made a terrible mistake. The old man spoke. His voice was quiet, almost gentle, but it carried weight. "You should leave now, while you still can." Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years, a chill running down his spine, a warning his body was giving him that his mind refused to hear. He laughed again, but this time it sounded hollow, even to him. "Are you threatening me, old man? Do you have any idea what I can do?" The beggar didn't respond. He just slowly stood up, each movement careful, deliberate, like someone testing joints that hadn't moved properly in a long time. He was smaller than Marcus, thinner, older. By every logical measure, he should have been harmless. But Marcus took a step back, instinct overriding pride. "I asked you a question." The old man tilted his head slightly, studying Marcus the way a teacher studies a failing student. "What you can do, you can punch, you can kick, you can win trophies. But can you see? Can you listen? Can you understand? What are you talking about? You look at me and see nothing. That is your weakness, not in your body, in your perception." Marcus felt anger replacing fear. Good. Anger he understood. Anger he could use. "You want to test me? Fine. Let's see how tough you really are." He threw a jab, fast, precise. The same jab that had knocked out 7 opponents, and missed. Not because the old man blocked it, not because he dodged. He simply wasn't there anymore. Marcus blinked, confused. The beggar was now 3 feet to the left. Marcus hadn't even seen him move. "How did you telegraph. Your shoulder drops before you punch. Your weight shifts too early. Your breathing changes. Everything about you screams your intention before your fist moves." Marcus felt something worse than anger now. Embarrassment. This homeless man was lecturing him about fighting. He threw a combination, left hook, right cross, spinning back kick, moves that had won him championships. The old man moved like water, flowing around each strike, never blocking, never countering, just avoiding, effortlessly. And then he did something that stopped Marcus cold. He yawned. "Are you finished?" Marcus stood there, breathing hard, not from exertion, from disbelief. "What are you?" The old man sat back down against the wall, pulled the torn blanket over his shoulders, and closed his eyes. Someone who chose the wrong path many years ago and is still paying the price. I don't understand. No, you don't, but you will. Soon enough. Marcus wanted to press, to demand answers, to prove something. But his instincts finally were screaming at him to leave. He turned, walked away, fast. Behind him, the old man whispered something. So quiet, Marcus almost missed it. 3 days, come back in 3 days if you want to understand. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He kept replaying the encounter, frame by frame. Trying to understand what had happened, he'd fought the best, trained with masters from 7 countries, studied every style, every technique, every secret. But nothing in his experience explained what that beggar had done, or more accurately, hadn't done. The old man had barely moved, hadn't broken a sweat, hadn't even seemed interested. And yet Marcus, with all his speed, all his power, all his training, couldn't touch him. Morning came. Marcus went to the gym as always, but something was different. His coach noticed immediately. "You're distracted." "What happened?" "Nothing, just tired." "Tired? You? The day before your title defense?" Marcus had forgotten. Tomorrow night. The biggest fight of his career, against Chen Wei. The only fighter who'd come close to beating him. He needed to focus, to train, to prepare. But all he could think about was the beggar, and those eyes, and that voice. 3 days. The training session was a disaster. Marcus was slow, sloppy. His timing was off. His power was gone. His coach pulled him aside. "What is going on with you?" "I met someone last night, an old man. He moved like nothing I've ever seen." His coach frowned. "What old man?" "A beggar, in the alley behind the Grand Hotel." Something changed in his coach's expression. Fear, recognition, something. "What did he look like?" Marcus described him. The rags, the torn blanket, the wooden bowl, the eyes. His coach went pale. "You need to stay away from that man." "Why? Who is he?" "I don't know his name, but I've heard stories. 20 years ago there was a fighter, the greatest anyone had ever seen. Undefeated, unstoppable. They called him the Ghost of the Southern Temple. What happened to him? He killed someone. In the ring. An accident, they said. But he never fought again. Disappeared. Some say he went mad. Some say he became a monk. But the stories all agree on one thing." "What?" "He swore he would never use his skills again, that he would live as the lowest, to atone for what he'd done." Marcus felt ice in his veins. "You think that beggar—" "I don't know, but if it is him, you need to forget you ever met him. Men like that are dangerous, not because of what they can do, but because of what they've already done." That night, Marcus tried to sleep, but couldn't. His mind was racing, questions, doubts, curiosity, and something else. Something he hadn't felt since he was a child, before the fame, before the championships, before he became Marcus Chen, the undefeated champion. He felt small. The title fight came and went like a blur. Marcus won, barely, by split decision, after 5 rounds of the ugliest fighting he'd ever done. Chen Wei had dominated him. Marcus was slower, weaker, distracted. The crowd booed. The commentators questioned. His sponsors worried, but Marcus didn't care. He could only think of one thing: 3 days. On the 3rd night, he went back to the alley, alone, without telling anyone. The old man was there. Same spot, same torn blanket, same wooden bowl. But this time, there were coins in the bowl, more than before. As if nothing had happened. Marcus stood there, unsure what to say, how to begin. The beggar opened his eyes. "You came. You knew I would." "Yes, because you're curious." "And curiosity is the first step." "First step to what?" "Understanding." Marcus sat down across from him, not caring about the wet ground, the dirt, the smell. "My coach told me about you, about the Ghost of the Southern Temple." The old man smiled, sad, tired. "That name is dead, like the man who carried it. Is it true?" Did you kill someone? Yes. No hesitation, no excuse, just the truth. Marcus swallowed. How do you live with that? I don't. I exist. There's a difference. They sat in silence for a long moment, the city noise around them, cars, voices, life continuing while they sat in the shadows. Why did you tell me to come back? Because you need to learn something, before it's too late. Learn what? The old man looked at him, really looked at him, and Marcus felt exposed, like every secret, every fear, every weakness was laid bare. You think you're strong, you think you're skilled, you think you're a champion, but you're none of those things. Marcus felt anger rising. I've proven myself over and over. No, you've won fights, that's not the same thing. What's the difference? A fighter uses techniques, a warrior uses understanding. You are a fighter, good at techniques, but you have no understanding. Then teach me. The words came out before Marcus could stop them. Desperate, almost pleading. The old man shook his head. No. Why not? Because teaching you would mean using what I swore to never use again. And I can't. I won't. But you already used it, against me 3 nights ago. I avoided, I didn't fight. There's a difference. Marcus leaned forward. Then teach me to avoid. Teach me to understand. Teach me to be more than just a fighter. The beggar studied him for a long time, weighing, judging, deciding. If I teach you, your life will change. Everything you know, everything you are, will be challenged, broken, rebuilt. Are you ready for that? Yes. Liar. No one is ever ready. But some are willing. Are you willing? Marcus thought about his life. The fame, the money, the championships, the emptiness behind it all. Yes, I'm willing. The old man nodded slowly. Then we begin tomorrow, before dawn, here, and you will do exactly as I say, without question, without complaint, without ego. Can you do that? I can try. No. Can you do it? Marcus met his eyes, and for the first time in years, told the complete truth. I don't know, but I want to find out. The beggar smiled, the first real smile Marcus had seen from him. Good. Honesty is the second step. The next morning came too early. 4 a.m., still dark, the city barely awake. Marcus arrived at the alley. The beggar was already there, standing, waiting. He looked different in the pre-dawn light, straighter, stronger, as if the night had restored something in him. Take off your shoes. What? Your shoes. Take them off. Marcus did as told. The cold pavement bit into his feet. Now feel the ground. Really feel it, the texture, the temperature, the way it supports your weight. Marcus stood there, feeling foolish, but he focused, tried to feel what the old man was describing. What do you notice? It's cold, hard, rough. No. What do you really notice? Marcus concentrated harder, and then, slowly, he began to feel it. The tiny variations, the small slopes, the way his weight distributed. The ground isn't flat, it shifts, changes. Good. That's the first lesson. Nothing is as it appears, not the ground, not your opponent, not yourself. If you can't see the truth, you can't respond to it. For 2 hours, they did nothing but stand. The old man correcting Marcus's posture, his breathing, his awareness. No techniques, no moves, just standing. Marcus's legs burned, his back ached, his patience wore thin. When do we start training? We already have, but you're not ready to see it yet. By the time the sun rose, Marcus was exhausted. More tired than after any fight, any training session, any workout. That's all for today. What? But we barely did anything. The old man tilted his head. You stood for 2 hours, maintained awareness, fought your ego, resisted complaining. And you think you did nothing? Marcus opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. The old man was right. Every moment had been a battle against himself. Come back tomorrow, same time. For 2 weeks, it continued, every morning, before dawn. Just standing, feeling, breathing, being aware. Marcus's friends noticed the change. His sponsor called. His coach demanded explanations, but Marcus ignored them all because something was happening, something he couldn't explain. He was becoming aware of everything. The way people moved, the way they breathed, the tiny tells that revealed their intentions before they acted. In sparring, he found himself anticipating moves before they happened, not from technique, but from understanding. His coach pulled him aside. "What did you do? You're fighting different, better, but I don't understand how." "I'm learning to see." "See what?" "Everything I was missing." On the 15th day, the old man finally spoke different words. "You're ready for the next step." "What is it?" "Movement, but not the movement you know. The movement beneath movement. The kind that doesn't fight, that flows." He demonstrated. A simple step. Forward, then back. Marcus tried to copy it. Failed. "You're forcing. Don't force, allow." Marcus tried again and again and again for hours, until his mind was screaming in frustration, and then something clicked. He stopped trying, stopped thinking, just moved. And for the first time he felt it, the flow, the natural path, the way water moves around rocks. The old man nodded. "Now you begin to understand. Power isn't force, it's efficiency. Violence isn't strength, it's weakness." 3 months passed. The longest 3 months of Marcus's life. Every morning, training with the beggar, learning things that contradicted everything he'd ever known. How to move without moving, how to strike without striking, how to win without fighting. His professional career suffered. He cancelled fights, missed appearances, lost sponsors. His manager threatened to drop him. His friends called him crazy. His family worried. But Marcus didn't care. Because for the first time in his life, he felt like he was learning something real. One morning, the old man did something unexpected. He took off the torn blanket. Beneath it, he wore simple training clothes, clean, well-maintained. "Today, you will fight me." Marcus's heart skipped. "Really? Not with your fists, with your understanding. If you can touch me once, just once, you pass to the next level." They faced each other in the alley, empty, silent, the city still sleeping. The old man stood casually, relaxed, almost bored. Marcus remembered their first encounter, how helpless he'd felt, how completely outmatched. But now, after 3 months of training, he was different. He could see things, feel things, understand things. He moved, not attacking, just flowing, testing, feeling the space between them. The old man responded. Minimal movements, just enough to stay out of reach. They danced, for minutes that felt like hours, Marcus trying, adjusting, learning. But he couldn't touch him. Every approach was anticipated, every angle was closed, every opportunity was an illusion. Finally, exhausted, Marcus stopped. "I can't do it." "No, you can't. Not yet." "Then why make me try?" "Because now you understand the gap between knowing and doing, between learning and mastering, between student and teacher." Marcus sat down, breathing hard, not from exertion, from realization. "How long did it take you to reach your level?" 40 years. Marcus felt despair. "I don't have 40 years. "No, but you don't need 40 years to be better than you were. You need 40 years to be perfect. And perfection is a trap." "What do you mean?" The old man sat beside him. For the first time, they were eye to eye, equal. "I spent 40 years perfecting my skills, and in doing so, I forgot why I was learning them. I became a weapon, a tool, something used by others. And when I finally tried to be something else, it was too late. The damage was done. The person you killed. Yes, his name was David. He was 19, a talented fighter, good person, had a family, dreams, a future." The old man's voice cracked, just slightly, but Marcus heard it. "We were in an exhibition match, supposed to be friendly, controlled. But I got carried away, showed off, used a technique I shouldn't have used, hit him in a way I knew was dangerous. And he died. Right there, in the ring. while thousands watched. Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring him back. Sorry doesn't erase what I did. Sorry is just a word that makes the living feel better." They sat in silence, the sun rising, painting the alley in shades of gold. "Is that why you live like this, to punish yourself?" "No, to remember. To never forget what happens when skill is separated from wisdom, when power is used without restraint, when the ego demands more than the heart can afford." Marcus understood then. Really understood. The old man wasn't teaching him martial arts. He was teaching him how not to become what he had been. "Thank you." The beggar looked at him, surprised. "For what?" "For trusting me with your story, with your pain, with your truth." The old man smiled, that sad, tired smile. "Perhaps you are ready after all." The training changed after that day, became deeper, more personal. The old man, who finally introduced himself as Master Feng, began teaching not just techniques but philosophy. "Every style has a weakness," he explained. "Northern styles are powerful but rigid. Southern styles are rooted but slow. Internal styles are subtle but take decades to develop. External styles are fast but burn out quickly." What's the answer then? There is no answer, only questions. The question isn't which style is best, it's which truth do you want to embody? Marcus was confused. "I don't understand." Feng picked up 2 stones, one smooth, one rough. This smooth stone was shaped by water, constantly flowing, always gentle, but over time it carved the stone into this form. The rough stone resisted, held its shape, remained hard. He held them out to Marcus. "Which one is stronger?" Marcus thought. "The hard one." It resisted. Wrong. The water is stronger, because it still exists, still flows, still shapes. The stone is merely the evidence of its power. He dropped both stones, they clattered on the ground. In fighting, most people want to be the hard stone, unbreakable, unyielding. But what happens when something harder comes along? They shatter. "So I should be like water?" "No, you should be like the river. Sometimes water, sometimes stone, sometimes fast, sometimes still. Adaptable, responsive, intelligent." Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Marcus was now 6 months into his training. His manager had dropped him. His sponsors were gone, his ranking was slipping. But he didn't care, because he was becoming something more than a champion. One night, walking home from training, Marcus witnessed something that would test everything he'd learned. 3 men, attacking someone in an alley, a woman, screaming, fighting back. The old Marcus would have charged in, all power, all aggression, all hero. But the new Marcus hesitated, observed, understood. 3 attackers, one armed with a knife, one drunk, one hesitant. The woman was trained. He could see it in her stance, her movements. She wasn't helpless, just outnumbered. He approached, not running, walking, calm, present. "Gentlemen, I think the lady would prefer you left." The man with the knife turned. "This doesn't concern you." Marcus didn't reply. He just stood there, centered, aware, unthreatening but unmovable. The drunk one laughed. "You want to be a hero? Fine. Let's see what you got." He swung. Wide, sloppy, predictable. Marcus moved. Minimal. Just enough. The fist passed by his face, inches away, hitting nothing. The drunk stumbled. Off balance. Marcus helped him fall, gently, to the ground, not hurt, just confused. The man with the knife advanced, more careful, more dangerous. "I don't want to hurt you," Marcus said, and meant it. Too bad. The knife came up, fast, aimed at Marcus's chest. Marcus did something Feng had taught him. He didn't block. Didn't dodge. He entered, moved into the attack. Inside the reach of the knife, controlled the wrist, applied pressure to a specific point. The knife dropped. The man yelped. Marcus released him. "Leave, now, while you still can." The third attacker, the hesitant one, had already run. The drunk was trying to stand. The knife wielder was cradling his wrist. They left, fast, scared. The woman looked at Marcus. "Thank you, but I had it under control." Marcus smiled. "I know. I was just making sure." She studied him. "You're Marcus Chen, the fighter I saw you fight last year. That was a different person. What changed?" Marcus thought about that, about everything, about the beggar in the alley, about the lessons, about the pain behind the teachings. "I learned that winning isn't the same as being right, that strength isn't the same as power, that being a champion doesn't mean anything if you're not a good person." She nodded. "Whoever taught you that is wise." "He is, but he's also broken, and I think that's why his wisdom is real." News of the incident spread, not the fight, but Marcus's refusal to fight. Videos circulated. Someone had filmed it. The calm approach, the minimal movements, the complete control without violence. Within a week, Marcus had more attention than ever before, but for different reasons. People wanted interviews, asked about his training, his teacher, his philosophy. He refused them all because he knew what would happen. They'd find Feng, expose him, turn him into a spectacle. But one person wouldn't take no for an answer. Chen Wei, the fighter who'd almost beaten him. He showed up at the alley one morning, found Marcus training with Feng. "So this is where you've been, with a homeless man." Feng didn't react, just continued his movements. Slow, deliberate, meditative. Chen Wei laughed. "This is your secret? Learning from a beggar?" Marcus stood between them. "Show some respect." "Respect? For what? Look at him. He's nothing." Something in Marcus snapped, not anger, something colder, more dangerous. "Say that again." Chen Wei stepped closer. "He's nothing." Marcus moved, not thinking, pure instinct born from 6 months of training. His hand shot out, grabbed Chen Wei's wrist, applied pressure. Chen Wei's eyes went wide. He tried to pull away, couldn't. Tried to counter, couldn't. Tried to break the grip, couldn't. Marcus held him there, effortlessly, completely in control. "Still think he taught me nothing?" Chen Wei stopped struggling. Okay, I'm sorry." Marcus released him. Chen Wei stumbled back, rubbing his wrist, looking at it like it was a foreign object. "What was that?" "I couldn't move, couldn't resist." "How did you do that?" "It's not about strength. It's about understanding pressure points, leverage, physics, body mechanics, things you don't learn by hitting bags and winning trophies." Chen Wei looked at Feng, really looked at him for the first time, seeing past the rags, past the appearance. "Who are you really?" Feng finally spoke. "Someone who lost everything because I thought winning was all that mattered. Learn from my mistake, before it's too late." Chen Wei's expression changed, softened. "Will you teach me too?" "No." "Why not?" "Because you're not ready. You came here with disrespect, arrogance, mockery. Those are barriers, walls that prevent true learning. When you break them down, come back. Maybe then." Chen Wei stood there, processing, and then surprisingly he bowed, properly, deeply. "I understand. Thank you for the lesson." He left, walking, not running, changed by a single encounter. Marcus looked at Feng. "Why did you refuse him?" "Because he needs to want it, really want it. Not because he saw something impressive, but because he understands something important. There's a difference." They resumed training, but something was different. The air felt heavier, like something was coming. Feng was quieter than usual, distracted. "Master, what's wrong?" Feng looked at him, and for the first time, Marcus saw fear in those ancient eyes. "They know. About me. About us. About everything. Who knows? The Federation, the government, officials who want to use what I know, what I can do. They've been looking for me for 20 years, and now they've found me." Marcus felt ice in his chest. "What happens now?" "They'll come. Tomorrow. Maybe the day after. They'll take me and they'll try to make me teach them, turn me back into a weapon. We can fight them. We can run." Feng smiled. Sad, tired, final. No, because then I'd be using what I swore never to use again. Violence to prevent violence, that's not the answer. Then what is? You. You are the answer. You carry what I've taught you, the understanding, the philosophy, the way. And you'll teach others, not out of ego, but out of wisdom, not to create warriors, but to create good people who can defend themselves. Marcus realized what Feng was saying. This was goodbye. I'm not ready to lose you. No one ever is. But loss is the final lesson. How we handle it defines us. They came the next evening, 6 men in dark suits, government plates on their cars, authority in every gesture. Marcus was there, standing beside Feng, ready to fight, ready to die if necessary. But Feng put a hand on his shoulder. No, let me handle this. The lead official stepped forward, mid-50s, cold eyes, bureaucratic smile. Master Feng, we've been looking for you for a very long time. I know. You understand why we're here. I do. Will you come peacefully? Feng nodded. On one condition. You're not in a position to make conditions. Aren't I? Feng's voice didn't rise, didn't threaten. But something in it made all 6 men tense. The lead official reconsidered. What condition? You leave my student alone. He knows nothing of military applications, nothing of combat systems, nothing you could use. He only knows what I chose to teach him. Philosophy, awareness, defense, nothing more. We'll decide what he knows. No, you'll agree, or I'll die right here, right now, and you'll get nothing. The official studied Feng, calculating, weighing, deciding. How would you die? We have 6 armed men. Feng smiled. You think 6 is enough? How many did it take to stop me 20 years ago? 20, 30? And I was younger then, more reckless. Now I'm old, tired. But I've had 2 decades to think, to plan, to prepare for this moment. It was a bluff. Marcus knew it was a bluff, but the official didn't. Fine, the boy is free, but you come with us now. Feng turned to Marcus, looked him in the eyes, and without words, said everything that needed to be said. Thank you. I'm sorry. Continue. Remember. Be better than I was. Marcus felt tears, but didn't let them fall. Not yet. Feng walked to the cars, didn't resist, didn't fight, just went. And as the cars drove away, Marcus stood in the alley, alone. The wooden bowl was still there, the torn blanket, the few coins. Evidence of a life lived in penance, in memory, in teaching. Marcus picked up the bowl, held it, felt the worn wood, the weight of it, and he made a decision. He wouldn't let this be the end, not of Feng, not of what he taught, not of what he represented. The next morning, Marcus returned to the alley, set up in Feng's spot, same place, same position. He didn't wear rags, didn't pretend to be homeless, just sat there, waiting. People passed, ignored him, threw the occasional coin, moved on, until one person stopped, a young woman, maybe 20, athletic build, nervous energy. Are you Marcus Chen? I am. I saw the video of you stopping those attackers. Is it true you learned from a beggar? It is. Could you teach me? Marcus looked at her, really looked, saw the bruises half hidden by makeup, the defensive posture, the trauma trying to hide as strength. Why do you want to learn? Because I'm tired of being afraid, tired of being weak, tired of being a victim. Marcus understood, not just her words, but what was beneath them, the pain, the anger, the desperate hope. Sit. She sat. Take off your shoes. What? Your shoes. Take them off and feel the ground. She looked confused, but did as asked. Now, tell me what you feel. And so it began. Marcus teaching what Feng had taught him, passing on the understanding, the philosophy, the way. Not to create fighters, but to create people who didn't need to fight. The weeks passed, then months. Marcus's small class grew, not many. 5 students, then 10, then 15. He taught them in the alley. the same alley where he'd met Feng, where his life had changed. He charged nothing, asked for nothing, just taught, because that's what Feng would have done. His students were different from typical martial arts students. They weren't there for trophies, for belts, for ego. They were there because they'd been hurt, scared, broken, and wanted something real. A woman who'd survived assault, a man who'd grown up in violence, a teenager who'd been bullied, a veteran with PTSD, a single mother afraid for her children. Each carried their own pain, their own reasons, their own need. And Marcus taught them the same way Feng had taught him. Not techniques first, but understanding, awareness, presence. How to see danger before it arrived, how to de-escalate before violence erupted, how to defend without destroying. One student, the young woman named Sarah, who'd been his first, made remarkable progress. Within 6 months, she'd transformed, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. The fear in her eyes was gone, replaced by something stronger. Confidence, not arrogance. Just the quiet knowledge that she could handle what came. One evening after class, she approached Marcus. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why do you do this? You were famous, successful. You gave it all up. For what?" Marcus thought about that, about everything that had led him here. "I gave up being a champion, but I became something better. I became a teacher, and that matters more than any trophy." Sarah nodded. "Your teacher, Master Feng, what happened to him?" "I don't know. The government took him. I've tried to find out, but there's nothing, no records, no trail. It's like he never existed." "Do you think he's still alive?" "I hope so, but even if he's not, what he taught me lives on. Through me, through you, through everyone we teach. That's immortality." As winter turned to spring, Marcus received an unexpected visitor. Chen Wei. The fighter looked different, humbler, quieter. He sat at the edge of the group, watching, learning. After class, he approached Marcus. "I'm ready now to learn if you'll have me." Marcus studied him, saw the change, the genuine transformation. "What changed?" "I lost. 3 fights in a row, got humiliated, and I realized I was fighting for the wrong reasons. For ego, for pride, for image, not for anything real. And now I want to learn what you learned. Not to win, but to understand, to be better, to help others." Marcus smiled. Feng would be proud. Welcome. Chen Wei became one of his best students, not because he was talented, but because he was humble, willing, open. Together they built something, a community, a family, a space where broken people could heal, where the afraid could find courage, where the lost could find direction. But Marcus never forgot Feng, never stopped looking, never stopped hoping, until one day, a year after Feng's disappearance, an envelope arrived. No return address, no stamp, just Marcus's name. Inside, a single piece of paper and a small wooden figure, carved from the same wood as Feng's bowl. The paper read, "Thank you for continuing what I started, for being better than I was, for teaching what I should have taught long ago. I am old, tired, but content, because I know that what I learned in pain, you now teach in wisdom. That is enough. That is everything. Be well, my student, my friend, my redemption." No signature. But Marcus knew. Feng was alive, somewhere, and he was free. Not physically, but in the way that mattered. Marcus placed the wooden figure on a small shelf in the alley, where he taught, where he trained, where he honored what he'd been given. And he continued, day after day, teaching, learning, growing. 2 years after that first meeting in the alley, Marcus received a challenge, a formal one, from the International Combat Federation. They wanted him to fight in an exhibition match against the current world champion, to prove whether his methods had any validity against real fighters. His students were divided. Some wanted him to refuse, to stay true to his principles. Others wanted him to accept, to show the world what Feng had taught. Marcus meditated on it for 3 days, and then decided he would accept, but on his terms. The match would be non-competitive. No winner, no loser, just a demonstration of two approaches, two philosophies, two ways. The Federation agreed. The publicity alone was worth it. The day came, arena packed, cameras everywhere, millions watching online. His opponent was Viktor Gregorov, Russian champion, 30 wins, 0 losses. Known for brutal efficiency, overwhelming power. They met in the center, touched gloves, stepped back. The referee signaled. The match began. Viktor came forward, aggressive, powerful, exactly as expected. But Marcus didn't retreat, didn't counter. He just moved, minimal, efficient, flowing. Viktor threw combinations, heavy punches, devastating kicks, every strike designed to end the fight. None landed, not because Marcus was faster, but because he was present, aware, understanding each attack before it came. The crowd grew silent. This wasn't what they expected. This wasn't a fight. This was something else. Viktor, frustrated, increased his power, threw everything he had. Marcus flowed around it all, like water around stone, never hard, never resistant, just responsive. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Viktor was breathing hard. Marcus looked like he was walking. And then Marcus did something that shocked everyone. He stopped moving, stood still, in the center of the ring. Viktor, exhausted, confused, stopped too. "What are you doing?" "I'm showing you that you can't hit me, not because you're not good enough, but because hitting requires agreement, target and striker. I refuse to agree, so you can't succeed." "That's not fighting." "Exactly, that's the point." Viktor stared at him, and then something remarkable happened. He laughed, a genuine laugh. "You're insane, but you're right. I can't touch you, and I've been trying to destroy you for 10 minutes, while you've been trying to teach me something. Have I succeeded?" Viktor thought about that. "Maybe. What are you trying to teach?" That violence is a choice. That strength without wisdom is dangerous. That being able to fight means knowing when not to. The referee was confused. The crowd was confused. The commentators were confused. But Viktor understood. He extended his hand. Marcus took it. They bowed to each other and walked out of the ring together, leaving the arena in stunned silence. The media exploded. Was it a fight? A performance? A statement? Marcus gave one interview. Just one. To explain. "I didn't come to win. I came to show that there's another way. A way that doesn't require destruction, doesn't glorify violence, doesn't measure worth by how many people you've hurt. But what about self-defense? Defense, yes, always. But defense doesn't mean destruction. It means protection. There's a difference. Master Feng taught me that, and I'll spend my life teaching others." The interview went viral, not because it was dramatic, but because it was different, real, honest. People responded, not all of them, but enough. Invitations came. Schools wanted him to teach. Organizations wanted him to speak. Governments wanted him to consult. He refused them all, except one. A small community center in a rough neighborhood. They wanted self-defense classes for at-risk youth. Marcus accepted and brought his students to help teach, because that's what Feng would have done. 5 years passed. Marcus was 30 years old. His life completely different from what he'd imagined. He lived simply, taught freely, helped constantly, and never regretted any of it. His old coach reached out. They met at a quiet cafe. "I've been watching you, what you've built, what you're doing, and I have to ask, do you miss it? The fighting, the championships, the glory?" Marcus considered. "Sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone. I remember the roar of the crowd, the feeling of victory, the validation. But then I remember the emptiness behind it, how hollow it all felt. And I don't miss it anymore." What filled the emptiness? Purpose. Real purpose. Not winning for myself, but helping others find their strength, their voice, their way. That fills me in a way no trophy ever did. His coach nodded. "Feng changed you?" "No. Feng showed me who I already was, beneath the ego, beneath the image. beneath everything I'd built to hide. He just gave me permission to be that person. I wish I'd met him. You did. Everyone who meets me meets him, because I carry what he taught, not just in my skills, but in my approach, my philosophy, my way of seeing the world. He lives through everyone he touched. That's the real power of teaching. One evening, while teaching at the community center, Marcus noticed someone watching from the shadows, an old man, wearing clean but simple clothes, leaning on a cane. Marcus's heart stopped. It couldn't be. After class he approached. The man turned, and Marcus saw his face. It was Feng, older, thinner, more weathered, but alive and smiling. Master. Feng held up a hand. Not master, just Feng. I don't deserve that title anymore. You're alive, I thought. I hoped, but I didn't know. They held me for 2 years, tried to make me teach their soldiers, their operatives, their weapons. But I refused, every day, every method, every threat. I refused. How did you escape? I didn't. They let me go, because I was useless to them. An old man who wouldn't cooperate, more trouble than I was worth. So they released me, with a warning, stay invisible, stay silent. Or disappear permanently. Marcus felt tears. I've missed you. And you, but I stayed away for a reason, because you needed to find your own way, without me, without my shadow. And you did. Better than I could have hoped. They sat together, teacher and student, master and apprentice, father and son, all those things and more. I watched your exhibition match. With Victor, you honored everything I taught you. I tried. No, you succeeded. Because you understood that winning isn't about defeating your opponent, it's about showing them a better way. Victor walked away changed. That's true victory. They talked for hours, about everything, about nothing, about the years between, and then Feng stood to leave. I can't stay, it's not safe for you or me, but I wanted to see, to know, that what I sacrificed for wasn't wasted. It wasn't. I promise you it wasn't. Feng smiled, placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. I know. I can see it in your eyes, in your students, in everything you've built. You're free, truly free, in a way I never was. That's my greatest achievement, not what I did, but what you became. He walked away, into the night, disappearing like smoke, like a ghost. Marcus watched him go, knowing it might be the last time, and being okay with that, because some lessons can only be learned through absence, through loss, through letting go. 10 years after that first encounter in the alley, Marcus stood before a crowd of 300 people, his students, their students, and everyone they touched. It was an anniversary, a celebration, a recognition of what they'd built together. But Marcus didn't want speeches, didn't want praise, he wanted demonstration. He invited 3 people to the center, Sarah, Chen Wei, and a new student, a girl named Maya, 15 years old, recovering from trauma. Show me what you've learned. Not the techniques, not the moves, but the understanding. Sarah moved first, fluid, confident, aware. She demonstrated how to de-escalate, how to create space, how to defend without attacking. Chen Wei followed, showing how former aggression had transformed into protection, how ego had become service, how winning had become helping, and then Maya, small, scared, but determined. She showed the first lesson, standing, feeling the ground, being present. The same lesson Marcus had learned a decade ago. The crowd applauded, but Marcus raised his hand. This isn't performance, this is life. What you see here, this is how we change the world. Not through violence, not through force, but through understanding. One person at a time, one lesson at a time, one choice at a time. He looked around the room, saw faces, lives, stories, each one touched by what Feng had started in that forgotten alley. My master taught me that true strength isn't in your fists, it's in your choices. That real power isn't controlling others, it's controlling yourself. That the ultimate victory isn't defeating your enemy, it's not having enemies at all. Some of you came here broken, afraid, lost, And I can't promise that what we teach will fix everything, but I can promise that it will give you tools, awareness, options, the ability to choose something different than what was chosen for you. The room was silent, listening, understanding. Master Feng spent 40 years perfecting his skills, and 1 second destroying someone's life. He lived the next 20 years atoning, teaching me, teaching through me. And now, through all of you, his pain became wisdom, his guilt became purpose, his isolation became connection. That's what we honor here. Not perfect people, but broken people who chose to heal, not fearless warriors, but afraid humans who chose to face their fear. Not winners, but humans who chose to stop fighting and start understanding. After the event, Marcus returned to the alley, the original spot, where everything began. The city had changed around it, gentrification, development, progress. But the alley remained, a small pocket of unchanged space in an ever-changing world. He sat down, in Feng's spot, in his own spot, and just breathed. Footsteps approached. He looked up. A young man, maybe 18, nervous, searching. "Are you Marcus Chen, the teacher?" "I am. I need help. I'm angry all the time, and I hurt people, and I don't want to be this person anymore." Marcus smiled, recognized himself in that plea, saw the cycle continuing. "Sit." The young man sat. "Take off your shoes." "What?" "Your shoes. Take them off and feel the ground." And so it began again. The teaching, the learning, the transformation. One person, one lesson, one choice. 15 years after meeting Feng, Marcus received an unexpected letter. Official government seal. His heart sank. Inside, a notice. Master Feng had passed away. Natural causes. Age 87. He'd left something for Marcus. The government was holding a small ceremony. Marcus was invited, actually required, to claim what Feng had left behind. Marcus traveled to the capital, to a nondescript government building, was led through security, through corridors, to a small, quiet room. An official waited, mid-60s, the same one who'd taken Feng years ago. "Mr. Chen, thank you for coming." "What did he leave me?" The official gestured to a table. On it, a wooden box, simple, hand-carved. "He worked on this for 10 years. In his cell, we allowed it. Seemed harmless. When he passed 3 weeks ago, we found this, with instructions that it be given to you." Marcus approached the box, hands shaking. He opened it. Inside, journals, dozens of them, filled with handwriting. Drawings, techniques, philosophy, everything Feng had learned in his 87 years, and a letter, on top, addressed to Marcus. He opened it, read, "My dear student, my greatest achievement. By the time you read this, I will be gone. But what I learned, what I understood, what I paid for in pain and time, this remains, not for you alone, but for everyone you teach. Use it wisely, teach it carefully. Remember always, knowledge without wisdom is danger. Skill without compassion is cruelty. Power without restraint is destruction. You have wisdom, you have compassion, you have restraint, so you can carry this safely. The world needs what we learned, but it needs teachers like you to share it properly. Thank you for your friendship, your dedication, your heart. Thank you for being better than I was, for breaking the cycle I started, for choosing light when I had chosen shadow. Be well, live fully, teach honestly, and remember, the greatest fight isn't in the ring, it's in the heart. Between who we are and who we could be. You won that fight, help others win theirs. With love and respect. Feng." Marcus's vision blurred, tears he couldn't stop, grief and gratitude mixing into something profound. The official spoke softly. "He talked about you often, in those final years. Said you were proof that redemption is possible, that mistakes don't define us, that we can change, choose better, become more." He died peacefully, smiling. Said he could finally rest because he knew his teaching would continue. Marcus closed the box, held it, felt the weight of it. Not just physical, but spiritual, historical, eternal. Thank you for taking care of him, for letting me have this. He earned it, and he spoke highly of you, said you understood what took him decades to learn. We thought he was exaggerating, but watching your work these past years, we understand now. He was right. Marcus left the building, box under his arm. Walking through the city, seeing it differently now. Not as a battlefield, but as a classroom. Every person a potential student, every interaction a chance to teach, to help, to change. He returned home, placed the box on a shelf, next to the wooden figure Feng had carved, next to the bowl from the alley, next to everything that connected him to his master. And he read, for days, weeks, months, absorbing, understanding, integrating, everything Feng had known, everything he'd learned, everything he'd paid for. Some techniques Marcus taught, others he kept hidden. Because Feng was right. Some knowledge is dangerous. Some skills shouldn't be shared. Some power should die with its holder. But the philosophy, the wisdom, the understanding that he taught freely to everyone without reservation, because that was safe, that was necessary. That was the cure to the violence that plagued the world. 20 years after meeting Feng in that alley, Marcus was 43 years old. Grey in his hair, lines on his face, but eyes still clear, still kind, still aware. He'd trained thousands, directly and indirectly. His students taught students, who taught students. A lineage of understanding spreading across the world. One day, Viktor Gregorov, the Russian champion he'd faced years ago, visited. Older now, retired, but still powerful. I need to tell you something. That exhibition match, it changed my life. How? I went home. Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about what you showed me, that I'd spent 15 years perfecting violence but never questioned why. Never asked if there was another way. So I changed. Retired, started teaching. Not fighting, but what you taught me. Understanding. Awareness. Choice. Marcus smiled. Feng would be proud. I never met him, but I feel like I did. Through you. Through everyone you've touched. He lives on, not in memories, but in actions, in choices, in the way we treat each other. They talked for hours, about martial arts, about life, about the journey from fighter to teacher, from champion to human. Do you ever regret it? Viktor asked. Giving up everything for this? No, because this is everything. Fame is temporary. Trophies collect dust, records get broken, but what we teach, what we pass on, that's eternal. That matters. That evening, Marcus taught his last class in the alley. The city was redeveloping the area. The alley would be demolished, turned into condos. Progress. His students gathered, new and old, hundreds, filling the narrow space, sitting on boxes, standing in doorways, pressed together. This place, where I met Master Feng, where he taught me, where I taught you, it will be gone soon. But what happened here? That can never be destroyed, because it lives in us, in our choices, in our actions, in how we treat each other when no one's watching. He looked around, saw faces, remembered first lessons, first breakthroughs, first transformations. Feng taught me something crucial, that the place doesn't matter, the setting doesn't matter. What matters is the intention, the heart, the willingness to learn. We could have trained anywhere, in a gym, a park, a palace, but we trained here, in this forgotten alley, because that's where the lesson began, where a broken master met an arrogant student, and both found redemption. When this alley is gone, we'll find another space, another place to gather, to teach, to learn. But we'll carry this with us, the memory, the significance, the understanding that transformation can happen anywhere, to anyone, at any time, if they're willing. The class ended. People lingered, not wanting to leave, not wanting to let go of this space that meant so much. But eventually they did, one by one, saying goodbye to the alley, to the history, to the beginning. Marcus stayed longest, alone, in the darkness, where Feng had sat, where he'd learned, where everything had changed. He placed his hand on the ground, felt it, like that first lesson, the texture, the temperature, the solid reality of it. Thank you, Master, for seeing something in me worth saving, for teaching me, for trusting me, for everything. He stood, walked away, didn't look back, because Feng had taught him. Forward, always forward. The past is lesson, not anchor. 25 years later, Marcus was 68 years old, body slower, mind sharper, heart fuller. He'd lived a life he'd never imagined, taught thousands, changed lives, created ripples that spread further than he'd ever know. One morning, feeling the weight of years, he walked to where the alley had been. Luxury apartments stood there now, clean, modern, expensive, no trace of what had existed before. He stood on the sidewalk, closed his eyes, remembered. A voice interrupted. "Excuse me, are you Marcus Chen?" He opened his eyes. A young woman, maybe 25, confident, clear, aware. "I am. My grandmother trained with you 30 years ago. She told me stories about a beggar who became a master, a champion who became a teacher, a man who changed her life. What was her name?" "Sarah." Marcus smiled. "His first student." "How is she?" "She passed away last year. Cancer. But before she did, she made me promise something. To find you, to thank you, and to ask if you're still teaching." Marcus looked at this young woman, saw Sarah in her features, in her stance, in her eyes. The cycle continuing, generation to generation, teacher to student, past to future. "I am. Always. Until my last breath. Would you teach me?" Marcus studied her, saw the same hunger he'd seen in Sarah, the same need, the same potential. "Yes, but first, take off your shoes." She looked confused, then smiled, as if recognizing something her grandmother had told her. "And feel the ground?" Yes, she did, standing there on the expensive sidewalk where an alley had once been, where a broken master had once sat, where transformation had once begun. "What do you feel?" "The ground, solid, supporting me, constant." "Good. That's the first lesson. Everything else builds from there." They walked together, away from the luxury apartments, away from the past, toward whatever came next. And Marcus realized, this was it. This was what Feng had meant. This was immortality, not living forever, but teaching something that outlives you, creating a chain of wisdom that continues beyond your existence. He thought of Feng, wherever he was, whatever came after, and silently said what needed to be said. "I kept my promise. I taught what you taught me. I passed it on. I made it better. I broke the cycle of violence. I created a cycle of understanding, and it continues, forever, through everyone we touched, everyone they teach, everyone they touch, infinite, eternal, alive." That evening, Marcus sat in his small apartment, surrounded by journals, photos, memories, a lifetime of teaching, of learning, of growing. He opened Feng's journal, read a passage he'd read 100 times but never tired of. The master asked his student, "What is the greatest technique?" The student answered, "The one that defeats my enemy." The master shook his head. "The greatest technique is the one you never have to use, because you understood your enemy so well, felt their pain so deeply, saw their humanity so clearly, that they ceased to be your enemy at all." Marcus closed the journal, smiled, and closed his eyes, not to sleep, but to remember, to feel gratitude, to acknowledge the impossible journey from arrogant champion to humble teacher, from broken student to honored master, from violence to understanding, from ego to service, from champion to human. And in that moment, in that quiet apartment, in that peaceful evening, Marcus Chen understood what Feng had understood so long ago. That winning means nothing if you lose yourself. That strength means nothing without kindness. That skill means nothing without wisdom. That life means nothing without purpose. And his purpose, given to him by a beggar in an alley, refined through years of teaching, proven through lives changed, was simple, beautiful, eternal. To help one person become better today than they were yesterday, to show one person that they have choices, to teach one person that violence isn't the answer. That understanding is one person, one day, one choice, one lesson. That's how you change the world. Not with fists, but with wisdom. Not with violence, but with compassion. Not with winning, but with understanding. That was Feng's gift, and Marcus's promise, and humanity's hope.